Cars on the racetrack for GRIDLIFE Touring Cup race number 3 of the weekend at GRIDLIFE Midwest Festival. Welcome back to GRIDLIFE Live. My name's Kyle Heyer, joined by Tom O'Gorman, IMSA driver and current GLTC competitor. Not this weekend, but he's up here in the booth with me, having a good time. We had a spectacular race last night, race number 2, Into the Darkness. We'll do that again tonight at 7 p.m. Today, day racing on a relatively slick racetrack, Tom. Wow, 40-plus cars lined up after our top 10 shootout earlier today. Let's roll through our starting grid.
Ooh, I'm excited. This is going to be a great race because we get to throw all the unknowns out the window for the most part. We've been racing in the rain. We've been racing in the dark. We have a dry track with daylight, and a bunch of these drivers are stoked about it. Eric Coutil took the pole position in the top 10 shootout just a while ago, and he starts alongside Ryan Upham, who finished second place in that top 10 shootout.
Aaron Lichty, who was supposed to start third, has a mechanical issue. He will not roll off. Do you know about that?
I did know about that. He had throttle body issues in the top 10 shootout, felt very lucky to even get a lap in, and unfortunately wasn't able to get the car confidently fixed. He said, at any moment my throttle could drop out. I don't want to get rear-ended and cause a big incident, so I'm not going to go out, which means Woody Hyman will upgrade to the third position with Brandon Puck alongside in a K24 powered Miata. So Coutil, Upham, Hyman, Puck are the top 4.
Then it'll be Justin Kelly, and then the 212, which will be driven by, what's the name again?
Ronnie Solomon.
Ronnie Solomon. Still getting used to that one. And right behind them will be Eric Meadows and Emil Tab in the following row.
Next up is Ryan Kristoff in the semi-tube frame black or red and white CRX, and Pervez Randelia in the red FRS with white checkered flags up the door.
In row number 6, it'll be Ben Dozman in the number 0 and Jake Price in the 202.
Jake Jornstad rolls off next out of North Dakota in that multicolored S2000, newly hard-topped, and Kerry James in the black E36 M3 will roll off alongside.
In row number 8, it'll be Brad Adams and Tiffany Kelly. Tiffany Kelly put a new throwout bearing in that car the other day, ready to go for race number 3.
Justin Lee, black on black on black, NC MX5 rolls off next alongside Edgidigis Sadowskis. Nailed it.
Yes.
In a black E36.
Brian DeFries will roll off alongside him. Max Toyer. We skipped him in the lineup yesterday. He will not be in the car this time. It'll be what's our buddy?
Christian Falapa.
Christian Falapa.
Yep.
Thank you for catching me on that. They will roll off. Let's see where they will be. Row 10. The 944.
Alongside John Raymond, who's in a spec Miata, had a phenomenal race in the wet yesterday to start alongside Toyer. Then Quincy Burke in a red RX-8 and Bill Griffin in the Turner Motorsports BMW will roll off alongside each other on row 11.
Scott Robertson, Sally McNulty will share a row right behind him. Dan Capaldo and Vitas Aronauskis in the number 69, relatively new to GLTC, starting from the back of the pack today.
Louis Chatroop is super fast but had a disastrous race too, and he starts all the way down in 27th alongside Max Lupfer, who's in Ben Harisco's spec Miata, and it's a red one.
It's a red one. Jorge Ortiz will roll off alongside Brad Kosaiba in the number 261. Michael Vladiv, Felipe Gonzalez, and Luke McGrew, Wesley Penn will bring up the tail of the field.
And you heard that right. Luke McGrew, 35th on the grid today. We've had quite a few mechanical dropouts. We started the weekend with about 48 cars. 36 on the grid set from our grid sheets. We may have a couple of stragglers out there that we didn't know about, but Luke McGrew suffered a transmission failure in lap 5 of race 2 yesterday, got the car fixed thanks to a spare from Justin Lee, and he's on track going to be charging through the field.
Our buddies at Lemons of Love, who help people with who are going through chemo, they drop them off little care packages. If you donate via the YouTube Super Chat off to the side of your screen, if we get to $1,000, I'll eat an entire lemon on the broadcast later today. We're still a long ways away. Let's get on that, and so I can eat a lemon on stream. It'll be very funny to watch.
I was going to say, you're dodging a bullet right now, but the GLTC field locked and loaded, packing up and pairing up in turn number 10. We are going racing for 15 minutes. This is GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. All cars in the same class. It is a 15-minute sprint race. We're doing 4 of these this weekend, just like you do in Gran Turismo Forza. You boot it up, you bang out a couple of races. These guys doing the same thing. We're racing wheel to wheel with Eric Coutil on the pole in the red and white Civic and the black and red Ryan Upham E36 alongside.
This will be our 3rd race of the weekend. Our final points race will be in just about 2 hours as the sun sets here in South Haven, Michigan, just east of Lake Michigan. This is the season finale for the 2020 racing season in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. The second full season of racing we've done as the field comes out of turn number 11. We're 40 cars strong, double file, 20 rows deep as we come to the start-finish line. Eric Coutil on the driver's left on the inside, Ryan Upham on the outside going for a rebound. Green flag flies, and we're racing. And Woody Hyman, a big mistake is look at the 212 go up the middle. We're 3 looking 4 wide into turn 1. Upham around the outside for the race lead. Car off. That's Brandon Puck in turn number 1.
Puck off, but that was a crazy start from Meadows, and that is Ronnie Solomon. A great move, but it's going to be a bunch of cars all over the place. I don't know who that is. Red facing the wrong way. I think it's Sally McNulty getting the car turned around. A little bit of body damage to the Raymond car. That is a Spec Miata pulling off track at turn number 1, but we're clean the rest of the field, and it is at the lead.
What the heck is on Justin Kelly's car? It's like a camera that they got strapped to it.
I think it's a light. It looks like a tall tower light on the back of that's actually Justin Kelly. Yeah, but it's Upham in the lead. Coutil behind. Woody Hyman, a great start. It's a BMW sandwich with a Civic in the middle at the front.
The funny thing is Woody Hyman, I think, must have missed a shift or got on throttle really late because he had a horrible start but recovered through turn 1. Here he is battling for second place now with Coutil as the rest of the field streams through turn number 6.
Big gap for the top 3. Look at Ben Dozman on the charge alongside Emil Tab. So Emil Tab and Dozman battling for, I think, about 6th place, but Coutil showing the nose in turn number 8. Upham slams the door. These guys chucking the cars through. It is very cold out here today. These guys in the top 10 all talked about an hour ago how low the grip felt, especially in the braking zones. So everybody going to be taking it just a little bit easy, but Justin Kelly has rallied and is now pucking the nose into the inside for turn number 10. Goes for it.
And it's on the inside of Solomon for the race lead, though. It's a M3 sandwich with Woody Hyman and Ryan Upham sandwiching Eric Coutil. Lots of battling going on in the background. I think Brad Adams is part of one of those battles as they head through 10B.
Yeah, that was super tight stuff down in turn 10, but the top 3 spreading out just a little bit. Ryan Upham is on the way to potentially his first victory. He's been so close so many times in that black and red E36 on the front row, but look at how much Eric Coutil is able to close up going through turn number 10. That car is just going to get faster and faster and faster, the lightest of those front 3.
Let's also consider that Ryan Upham's rear tires might burn off towards the end of this race. That's where Coutil's going to be good. Big fly through turn number 1 for Coutil after it through that first corner.
Ronnie Solomon had that amazing start in the yellow S2000, but it looks like he's holding up the field just a little bit. The pace in that car with Ronnie Solomon at the wheel has been a little bit outside the top 10. He's currently running 4th, but no one can get around him.
We have a yellow flag in turn number 3, and I'm not exactly sure where that is. I don't see any cars stop. It could be well, I think there was a puff of smoke. That might be a campfire, but yellow flag in 3, could be up in 5 and 6. There, but again, no passing under yellow. That was a concern here in the spring, so let's make sure that everyone stays in line and behaves for this next portion.
Look at Hyman looking racy up underneath the back of that Civic at turn number 6. They leave frame, and now Coutil rallies coming out of turn number 6, nose down, and no ABS in that Civic. The BMWs around him do have it, but he rolls a ton of speed on entry and is able to get just up underneath Ryan Upham's rear wing. If he can get a draft run down to turn number 11, that turn 11 is a great passing opportunity.
Yeah. He climbed up the inside berm like it was a curb. Big slide for Upham. Here comes Coutil for the race lead. Side by side through turn number 9. Coutil, drivers left as they drag race into 10B. Upham's got drivers right. The preferred line through here. Coutil's going to have to run a little bit wide. Hyman sees the hole open and dives for the inside on Coutil.
Oh, Coutil wasn't able to get the car turned in after Upham shut the door, and now Hyman's got the run. The Hyman car is a little bit low on straight line speed. Look at the speed from the Civic now. He's grabbing gears, is able to kind of hold a little bit of position, and now Hyman tucks in beneath. Maybe it looks like he lifted just to make sure that he didn't go side by side because he knows right now if they race, they're going to lose Upham, and it's too long. It looks like we still have a local yellow, but I don't think it's a full course as the screen indicates, so I think we're okay.
Yep.
I don't see full course yellows out everywhere else, just that local at turn 3.
Look
Ben
who's
Dozman
fourth.
is able to get all the way up into 4th position after getting his way around Ronnie Solomon. So in 4th place, that digital camo, black, white, and silver RSX having a great race right now.
Not only that, how about he's actually running pace equivalent to the race leader. So if these guys get tangled up, let's not watch out for that Acura RSX if you're running in 4th. Justin Kelly's back there in 6th behind Solomon in the 212 car. Kerry James and Emil Tab having a scrap back there for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Brad Adams and Pervez Randelia has cracked the top 10 as well.
Yeah, Brad Adams there in the red Civic, similar to the car in the lead with Randelia behind. Lewis Chatroop is up a ton of positions. It looks like he's picked up 15 spots, and we called out that he had a really poor race yesterday in the rain. I don't think he had the tires for the conditions, actually, and he's rallied this one good. But the battle at the front is no joke. Ryan Upham in the black and red E36 is managing to hold off Eric Coutil, but I agree with you that Eric Coutil's got the long run pace probably a little bit better than the heavier BMW, but look at him, he doesn't have the grip to close the car.
There's a car off. I think it's Quincy Burke on driver's right, so that will be a yellow for probably the rest of the race. So you cannot pass through that section, not like you would be able to anyway. There's a car off. Is that Levi Brown or is it Adam Jabay?
It is Levi Brown.
Yeah, so he's going to pull off. He should be well out of the way. But once you get to turn 10P here, all clean and green. Now room to race here as they come up onto the straightaway. Coutil closing on the corners in the tighter sections, but he doesn't have the power that the M3 is going to have here on the straightaway. That's where Upham's going to pull the cap.
Pervez Randelia made a huge lunge on Brad Adams back for about 10th place. Those two battling to get into the top 10. And again, we invert up to 12 cars for race number 2. Or race number 4 later tonight. So if you can get yourself up into the top 12, you have a chance. We have a whole collection of cars pulling off. at 10A. That was also Jake Jornstad pulling in. So cars dropping like flies, but the battle at the front still Upham at the point. Eric Coutil drops off just a little bit, and Hyman closed that gap up. Coutil might have a problem.
Oh, Coutil is going wide, and that's going to move Hyman through to second. Coutil just replaced a bunch of suspension components the last week after going to Road America and cracking some stuff, but he's not off pace to the point where I think something's completely wrong, but he's definitely slower.
Yeah, he's definitely off pace. I don't know. He might have thought that we were under full course for a moment, but I highly doubt that. Ben Dozman is closing up way too fast for Coutil's car to be healthy. So now it's two BMWs at the front. Ryan Upham with a good gap to Woody Hyman. Those two probably aren't going to close up much different because they're running such similar pace. The front of this field is getting spread out quite a bit, so the best battle on the track is actually for about 7th place with Ronnie Solomon just in front of Emil Tab, and throw Pervez Randelli and Louis Chatroop in there. Those 4 cars at the bottom of the screen. the Smedgard car with Ronnie Solomon at the wheel in the S2000.
Yeah, watching this battle here. There's Emil Tab in the 212, following him down into turn number 7. Remember, Tab in the top 10 shootout earlier today went down to turn number 1, locked up the tires, went way off the racetrack. Now attacking from his starting position. Here he comes, the drivers right through turn number 7 and 8, and now sweeping back to the left in turn number 9 here.
Tab in the white and winning Formula Miata, trying to figure out a way around the K24 S2000. He's got to run. He's going to go to the outside of turn 10. It's not preferred position, but he might be able to make it work. And look at Pervez Randelli in the red FRS coming up the inside to try to take advantage of that move that Tab made. He's not able to make it work around the outside. There's no surprise there, but no, actually he comes back around
the outside. What a move for Emil Tab. Going to drag race the 212 up the straightaway. Pervez Randelli watching from behind. Who's going to win this drag race? S2000 versus Miata into turn 11 at GingerMan Raceway at Midwest 2020. Tab using that straightaway speed.
And these cars have the exact same engine, but there you see the confidence in the ABS of that S2000. He was able to close the door. Pervez Randelli in the red FRS with Louis Chatroop at the back in the E46 BMW. These 4 battling for 7th right now, and this is deep within that invert zone. Any of these drivers could end up on the pole for this next race, so every position counts.
Tiffany Kelly has found her way up here as well. She's 12th position, but look at this 212. Now a little bit of a defensive line into turn number 2. Pervez Randelli is going to sneak up the inside of Tab. This is a great battle for what will eventually be 8th place here.
Chatroop with a little bit of a run up the outside of Randelia, and Randelia, there's some body damage on the back.
Oh, big lock up into turn 3, and it looks like Chatroop is going to have to escape to driver's left. Tab blocks it up on entry as well. Lots of smoke from the tires as they charge off into 3. Here comes Chatroop around Randelia. That's for 8th.
Yeah, that was a tense moment. I'm not actually sure if it was Chatroop or Tab that locked up the brakes, but that gives Ronnie Solomon a breather and brings Tiffany Kelly, who's in the black and red S2000 at the back of your frame, just a little bit closer to this battle. At the front, no changes. It's Upham at the front. Hyman second. Coutil, I think, is back up to pace. I don't know what quite happened there, but he's still in front of Ben Dozman on timing and scoring. So we're going to keep watching this battle for about 8th place. Yes. Oh, no, Dozman is around both Hyman and Coutil. Hyman may be having a problem now. Dozman up to second.
Wow, Dozman's flying too. He was running equal times to the race leaders. Let's keep an eye on that battle as they come on through.
Oh, look at this. Eric Meadows with the silver NC trying to get up the inside of that's Ben Harisco around the outside, and now Ryan Christoph in the red and white CRX with a run. Scott Robertson is on street tires. He's in that battle as well. Look at these battles everywhere.
Look at Randelia and Chatroop side by side. Tiffany Kelly's joined the party now as they drag race up. Brad Adams is watching it all from the background as we continue to watch battles left, right, and center here at GingerMan Raceway.
In frame right now, that's Ronnie Solomon in the yellow S2000 and white Miata of Emil Tab. Those two battling for about 5th place, but Dozman up into second in that red front end Acura RSX into turn number 1. We're halfway through this race, 8.5 minutes down of a 15-minute race. Coutil back up to frame, back up to speed in frame now, and then the huge antenna on the back of Justin Kelly's car up to the top 5.
Big slide for Solomon there as they come out of turn number 1, and that's going to leave Emil Tab an opportunity to dive up the inside for turn 2. But there's the RSX in second place right now. Clayton Fitzpatrick timing error is not the race leader. It's Upham, Dozman, Coutil, Kelly, James as they came across the line. And a sizable gap between Upham and that RSX of Dozman. I'm not sure he'll have time to run him back down. He should be looking at 2 or 3, maybe 4 laps to go.
Yeah, and it must have been a mistake from Woody Hyman, who is he must have a mechanical issue. He's completely gone. So Justin Kelly up to 4th, then the black E36 of Kerry James just there in the drone shot. He's actually still got Ronnie Solomon and Emil Tab closed up right beneath him. Louis Chatroop in the silver E46 has found his way past Pervez Randelia, leaving Pervez to battle with Tiffany Kelly. But this battle between Solomon and Tab is fizzled for just a long enough time for them to put in some clean laps and catch up to James.
And I'm watching behind him. I think that's Ben Harisco that's gotten through. Yes,
Chatroop.
It is. Oh, it's Chatroop. Harisco's back a couple more cars as they come through turn 8 now. Tiffany Kelly's there. And look at Brad Adams now approaching that S2000, the Myriad Motorsports car. There is, that's
a boneyard.
Yeah, it is. There's Levi Brown, Quincy Perkins, that Jake Jornstad there.
Yeah.
So 3 cars collected. They're well out of the way there. We should be able to continue racing. 10 minutes in, Upham leads, Dozeman second after a wild one. There's Kerry James, and where did he come from?
Well, Kerry had been up in front of this battle for a little while, but it looks like he slowed for some reason and now has Ronnie Solomon in the yellow S2000 all underneath the back wing of that car. So we have a legit battle for this is 5th place now between James, Solomon, and the white Miata of Tab.
They come through turn number 1. Justin Kelly just in front of this group, running nice clean laps all in his zone. Through turn 1 now, Kerry James aggressive over the curbing. So is Solomon, and Emil Tab still trying to find a way around this yellow 212 car.
And I think Emil Tab is really struggling with no ABS with the cool conditions. Everyone was saying the braking zones are really tough, and that makes a lot of sense if you think about when you hit the brakes, you shock the system. Look at Tab. He's got to run up the inside. Solomon makes one move. That was right on the verge of a block. That was a little iffy in my book, but Tab not able to get the job done, and that little exchange gave James a whole bunch of room to breathe.
Look at Ben Dozeman. His last lap was 0.8 of a second quicker than Upham. I'm not sure it's enough, but it could be quicker. Look at Eric Attila, 1:38.505. So these front 3 might accordion back together here towards the end of the race as we watch Kerry James sweep through turn number 6.
This is the battle for 5th place. The 44 BMW has it right now. The yellow S2000 and the white Miata behind want it. That is Solomon and Tab battling with Kerry James, who is a newcomer to GLTC. This is Ronnie Solomon's first weekend in GLTC too, so this is no joke for the S2000. Co-driving with Andy Smedgard, race winner from yesterday. We're watching some of the back half of the field now cross the start-finish line. Adam Jabay leaves frame and taking a quick breather before we launch into the last 2 laps of this race. GLTC race number 3.
Lots to digest at the tail end of this race, but the start was wild. We saw a couple cars looping around. We'd had a pretty successful weekend so far, coming into the dirt and the grass on race number 1 in the rain, and somehow it didn't tear up any cars. Unfortunately, a few look like they got a little bit of damage here. Having a look at it, Upham continues to lead this race by a fairly sizable margin. It was 5 seconds, but Eric Attila has moved into second past Dozeman.
No, they were not. They weren't in that position across the start-finish line. Dozeman still has the point, but Attila is on the bumper. Look at them. They're side by side, leaving turn number 2 with the run up to turn 3, and the more they battle, the more solidified Ryan Upham's win gets. They're coming into frame now. Dozeman in the RSX with the orange trim. Eric Coutil with the white front end on that Civic. Chasing down, lights ablaze. He knows that he has the pace to catch Dozeman, but can he get around? That's the question mark.
Yeah, Race Hero all out of shape right now, so they're getting a dead stream I'm not getting as they come through turns 5 and 6. Oh, big slide for Dozeman. Rear end sliding in that front wheel drive car. Coutil's looking more planted all the way out on the rumble strip at the exit of turn 6. Now into 7. Dozeman trying to defend a second place. What a drive this would be for him if he could finish here, but Coutil wants it bad.
And Dozeman, that's an ex-Lemons car. They've built that car over the last year and a half into GLTC spec. They had tons of transmission problems, all sorts of issues with that car as they've built it up to GLTC spec. It's finally there and finally reliable, and he's been thrilled with how fast the car is. But you can see just the confidence that Eric Coutil has to roll a little bit more entry speed, a little bit more mid-corner speed. That car probably a little more sorted. Now Dozeman running wide off of turn number 10B, and Coutil's going to get a little bit of a run, tucks in for the draft. This is probably coming to second lap to go, or 2 laps to go as they're working their way down. But that K24 and that Acura RSX has some oomph coming off the corner. Look at how much he's gapped them by.
It's a ton of power. Coutil dives. Look how much he closes on the brakes, though. That's typically sort of a weak point. But look at the run he carries at the corner exit. Now they're nose to tail as they come across the line here in GLTC race number 3. Across the line, white flag in the air for Ryan Upham, who is just 2.5 miles away from winning his first ever GLTC race. Coutil wants second from Ben Dozeman.
He doesn't have to do anything special at this point, just finish one more lap, but the battle for second is raging. Ben Dozeman, look at the digs from that RSX. He just motors off the corners. You can tell he doesn't have the top end or the braking confidence that Coutil has, but whatever issue Coutil had, maybe he just had it again. Because
there's a big battle in turn 1. Sorry to cut you off, Tom. There was an exceptional fight through the first corner. They were too wide. It was Chatroop involved, and I think it might have been Pervez Randelia as well.
Yeah,
yes.
Still that huge battle for basically 5th place has been raging this entire time. They're going to enter the left side of your screen just now. That black BMW in the background at turn number 3 is the leader of that huge train of cars. The leader's being interrupted a little bit by traffic, but Coutil had an issue. Maybe missed a shift coming off of turn number 2, dropped off the back of Dozeman, and really doesn't have the run that he needs or any opportunity to make a second place attempt.
Final lap again for Ryan Upham. He missed out on a race win. Look at him slicing and dicing through traffic now. Dozeman, he's going to get held up here. Coutil's got a big close, and here comes Coutil in 10B on the brakes.
Oh, they're just outside of our frame, but Dozeman gets through
Oh.
finally, weaving his way between the Integra and the Camaro, and he gets a clean launch off the final corner. I don't think that's enough for Coutil to get the run, and hopefully we can cut straight back to that battle for 5th as soon as these guys cross the line.
For Ryan Upham, he lost at Road America Race 4 by feet. He's been battling since Circuit of the Americas in the spring, but finally, as he comes out of turn number 11, Ryan Upham in his M3 as he comes across the line, the number 13, Ryan Upham gets his first ever GLTC victory. Ben Dozeman second, Coutil third, Justin Kelly fourth, Kerry James in fifth. Great battles going on around the racetrack. There's the one for 5th place in the background, Kerry James. Is that the 14 car?
That's Tab. Emil Tab was able to get around Ronnie Solomon, so the white Miata finally makes up one spot, and he will come home 6th. Solomon 7th. There's Ben Harisco out of nowhere, comes to a really strong 8th place finish in that silver E46. He was able to pick up about 4 or 5 spots in those last 2 laps, which is spectacular, as the rest of the field now starting to come across. Wait, was that Luke McGrew in the top 15?
Yeah. Wow, that is unbelievable. If Luke McGrew managed to finish 13th or 15th after coming from the tail of the field, that has got to be an onboard video I want to watch later. But with the field still streaming across the line, Ryan Upham finally gets redemption after being out-dragged up the straightaway at Road America by Aaron Lichty's number 190. Gets it done here at GingerMan. How does that feel? We saw DJ Alessandrini get his first GLTC win at Mid-Ohio a few months ago. That's just got to, after battling and battling, that's just got to be the best feeling in the world.
And especially when you earn it like that. He was, I think, started 4th or 5th place, came out and just put his stamp on, like, I have the pace to win this race and I have the confidence to defend. He was the smoothest driver of the entire race. I think we saw mistakes or mechanical issues from Hyman and Coutil that ended up putting Hyman out of this race entirely. Coutil able to hold on to a podium position, but I'm equally impressed with Ben Dozeman to come out here. This is his home track. He said, I've been close enough to this that as GingerMan never shut down really through the COVID-19 situation, then he was able to come out and drive that car a lot this year, and it's paid off.
Adam Jabay coming across the line, celebrating the second full season coming to a close for him, kind of the brainchild of the GRIDLIFE Touring Cup Series. We're so thankful for Adam and all that he's put his time and energy into to make this series what it is. A short one here today. We had a lot of dramas that sort of created the shortening of the race. Ben Dozeman, though, podium finish for him. What a drive that he had today. And also, we have to go back to Ben Harisco. Lap 1, race 1 at Road America. That car was totaled and destroyed. Builds it, puts it back together in 2 weeks, and he's back here, and now he's a top 10 finisher. How does that feel?
Looking at timing and scoring, he picked up 28 positions to finish 8th place in this race. That puts him also solidly in the invert zone. Again, we're going to invert somewhere between the top 4 and the top 12 off of a random draw as soon as these cars come off track. The race control people will pull a number out of the hat, and anywhere between Justin Kelly and Brad Adams could end up on pole for race number 4. Another shout-out, looking down a little further, sure enough, Luke McGrew was able to come from the back with a new transmission, picked up 18 positions to finish 4th. And I was joking with he and Eric Meadows, who are kind of teammates from the West Virginia area, that Eric was Luke's target. Luke got him.